Paxton thumps Cornyn as the president sends a loud message to the Senate. Let's check it out. And welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. 24 hours ago, we were all expecting a very tight race for the Republican Senate nomination in the state of Texas. Back in March, longtime Senator John Cornyn topped Ken Paxton by about 2 points in the primary. And then last week, the president chimed in, peacefully endorsing Ken Paxton while sparing John Cornyn any insults. That was a big move. We had never seen that before. Not going with the incumbent senator, the president going with the challenger. If anything, most believed at that point that Paxton would potentially eke out a victory last night. Well, the election was called literally as the polls closed. Right at 9 o'clock Eastern, it was already over. Texas AG Ken Paxton, one of the hardest working conservatives in the country, obliterated the 4-term Texas Senator John Cornyn by nearly 30 points. It was a bloodbath. And while Ken Paxton has certainly gained Trump's respect for years, being one of the strongest blockades of the left's agenda, of Biden's agenda, filing countless lawsuits against the previous administration, the Paxton endorsement was equally a message to Senate leader John Thune after he blew off Trump's demands to pass the SAVE Act, talking about it like this over the last several months.
Well, we will get a vote on the SAVE Act at some point, and I'm not sure exactly what that context will be. We're having a very robust conversation among our Senate Republican colleagues about the path forward. At the moment, what we are trying to do is ensure that we are having a fulsome debate on an issue that is overwhelmingly supported by the American people, and one that puts everybody on the record.
There's something like 85, 90% of Americans want what the SAVE Act offered, and yet he never did it. Trump wants secure elections. The people want secure elections. And the president had a point. The filibuster is dead as soon as Democrats get back into power. End it now. They've all said they're going to do it. Just end it now and force a secure election in this country for the first time in too long. Let's see how much different the numbers look when we actually run an election like every other civilized nation in the world. Demanding ID, requiring proof of citizenship. John Thune blocked that, making various excuses, playing the same game we always see from the Senate. And Trump withheld the Cornyn-Paxton endorsement through all of that. Going to decide when the right time came, and he did. And he let Republicans light $130 million on fire trying to save John Cornyn. Trump said, no SAVE Act? Okay. Say goodbye to your boy. And that's what happened last night. It's obvious John Thune and many other Senate Republicans just want to get through these 4 years of Trump as fast as possible and get back to uniparty activities. Trump is trying to end all of that permanently, and that is the fight. And Trump won a major battle last night, sending one of his strongest into the Senate.
Tonight, we just sent a Texas-sized message to Washington. I said it in March, and I'll say it again now. Today, change was on the ballot, and change won. Let me be clear, this is not just my win, this is your win. We just proved that this Senate seat doesn't belong to Washington. It belongs to you, the hardworking men and women of this state.
So there you go. But to get there, first, Paxton has to beat the weirdest woke Christian you're ever going to meet, and that's James Talarico. The Daily Wire reporting today that Talarico's church, where the candidate delivers sermons, gives kids access to books that give descriptions and instructions of anal sex, oral sex, and anal rape. One book called Genderqueer gives explicit instructions on this. This is in a church. Another called This Book is Gay gives instructions on gay sex as well. There are other books for the trans agenda inside of this man's church also. Democrats describe James Talarico as a moderate. Culturally, he is about as extreme as it gets in this country. He is a direct product of the Marxist movement to take over our churches, but needing to win statewide in Texas, he's now lying about who he is.
Is Ken Paxton telling the truth about you in relation to these issues, especially involving what he was just talking about there, transgender issues involving children?
No, Ken Paxton is clipping comments, taking them out of context to try to paint a picture, trying to paint me as someone I'm not.
Clipping comments. There is no way to edit this level of extremism into a candidate if he doesn't believe it. There's no way to clip the things that he's said to make you believe that this guy is something he's not. He believes there are 6 genders. He's obsessed with trans kids. You're going to fight he's going to fight for the state to have more control of a 7-year-old's gender than their parents. That's exactly what he's going to do. That's all part of his agenda. This is who he is. Just because it's a political liability doesn't mean he can call it all BS. And to those selling the idea that James Talarico is the white knight who's going to finally turn Texas blue, let's just remember, how many times have we heard and seen this show?
You can't go 10 feet without an interruption from a Beto backer.
So much. I love you too. Thank you all.
You're a rock star.
No, there's just so many great people who are.
You can't go anywhere without getting.
Hey guys.
O'Rourke, a 3-term congressman from El Paso, has certainly captured the entire nation's attention as well.
You're a rock star. The ABC News reporter who's with him at a planned event at a bar where all of his supporters showed up with. She actually thought that that was like organic, that he just walks into Costco and people just mob him as a hero. And then he lost. Paxton overperforming. To anyone that believes that Talarico is going to be the next Beto, we should show you this. Paxton overperforming last night in heavily Hispanic areas like the Rio Grande Valley in Texas indicate that Latino voters who moved hard toward the president in 2024 are certainly staying with the Republicans in Texas here in 2026, making a very weird woke victory in November all the more unlikely. All right, Congressman Brandon Gill from the state of Texas joins us tonight. Good to see you again. Paxton just mopping the floor with John Cornyn. It really wasn't even close. I think that surprised a lot of people. What did you make of last night?
Well, last night was a phenomenal night for the American people and for conservatives across Texas. We're sending a fighter to Washington to represent us, a fighter who stands up for Texas conservative values, who's going to fight to get the Save America Act across the finish line, who's going to fight against amnesty, who's going to fight against the Islamization of Texas. And that's exactly what our state needs, and we've got it in Ken Paxton.
I mean, it's certainly an interesting moment, and I feel like was really a pretty strong message to a Senate that I think a lot of the time likes to kind of ignore Donald Trump, and just kind of play this little game where they act like they're, oh yeah, we're going to do that, and they don't do it, just like with the SAVE Act. And Trump was just like, okay, I'm going to take your boy out, and you just blew $130 million, you just burned it, lit it on fire.
That's exactly right. And if you didn't already need to know or didn't already realize it, there is no stronger political force in America right now than Donald Trump. His endorsement is worth its weight in gold politically. And, you hear a lot of commentary from the left of Democrats who are just wishing, hopeful thinking that the president's influence is waning in the GOP, that it's waning across the country. And nothing could be further from the truth. You've seen what his endorsement meant for the Thomas Massie race, for the Bill Cassidy race, and now for this Texas Senate race. Yeah. Everybody in the GOP not only wants but needs the president's backing.
Yeah. Politico put it like this, talking about other races he's getting into. The president has already lashed out at 2 House Republicans due to perceived slights. Trump could also take aim at several GOP senators up for election in 28, including Murkowski in Alaska, Rand Paul in Kentucky, Todd Young in Indiana. I think you could argue, as they try to paint it as like some kind of revenge thing, that Trump maybe is just trying to give the GOP a chance at actually passing the agenda, because the GOP has this issue with the grandstanders. This is a problem that the Democrat Party has never had, which is something that Trump is so envious of, the way they all fall in line, the way they all vote together. They're like sheep. They follow whatever is said. They all do it. No matter what they say in private, they vote together.
Yeah, well, I would put it this way. I think the left would characterize President Trump's relationship with the GOP base and saying that they just follow whatever the president does. The reality is that the president is not only leading the party, but he's with the people. He's the one who's fighting for the American people. He is the one who has transformed the GOP, I think, in such a positive direction, where we are the party of the working class. So yes, I think whenever President Trump looks at members of Congress or people in the Senate who are doing their worst to thwart his agenda, the agenda that he ran on that gave Republicans a mandate more than anybody else, I think he's absolutely right to push back. And I think that's what you're seeing this primary cycle. You're seeing a president who's saying, we ran on something, and now I'm going to hold my members of Congress and my senators accountable to make sure we actually do it. And I think that's something that every American should be incredibly thankful for.
Yeah, I mean, why is it that one or two senators or members of Congress can bust up an agenda that the entire country voted for, you know, in a sweeping measure? Real quick, to Talarico, who Paxton will face in November. The man is culturally insane, as we all know. He's trans-obsessed, 6 genders. He's kind of the weirdest rainbow flag Christian you've ever seen. He reacted today. Take a look.
There are some statements that I've made that I certainly regret. There are statements that I've made where I've missed the mark. I'll be the first to admit that. But Ken Paxton is intentionally clipping my cringy comments to distract from his career of corruption.
What do you think happens in this race that Democrats are so hopeful about yet again? We have another Beto O'Rourke.
Well, my favorite part about that is, you know, I've certainly said things that I wish I had, and I'm sure you have too, and most people have. But I've never talked about how much I just deeply love transgender children. I've never made statements about how God is non-binary or there's more than 6 genders. Those are not just one-off gaps. This is a long history that James Talarico has of saying weird, perverted, and absolutely, I think, reprehensible things about Scripture and about Christ. So this is somebody who has, I think, no place in Texas politics. I think voters are going to absolutely reject him. And the most incredible thing is we are just at the tip of the iceberg right now. This guy, that the list of things that this guy has said is far longer than we know right now. There's a lot more to come out about James Talarico.
I tell people all the time, whenever you're in like kind of a blue state or, you know, a liberal corner and you see a church that's got the BLM flag and the rainbow flag, I was like, that's James Talarico right there. That's what he is. I don't know many people that are comfortable with that, and I certainly don't in Texas. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
We will focus on the worst landlords in New York City. When necessary, we will take aggressive legal action to remove negligent owners and property managers. And for buildings that have suffered chronic neglect, we will work to transfer ownership to responsible stewards. Stewards that include community land trusts, nonprofits, or even the tenants themselves.
Every socialist is really just a communist at heart, and Socialist Mayor Zoran Mamdani is showing his true communist tendencies with that statement right there. Did you catch what he said, laying out concrete plans to seize property from its owners? What he calls bad landlords, promising to transfer ownership, to take property from the people that own it and move it into the left's nonprofit regimes, or even back to the tenants themselves, to hand it over to the actual renting tenants that they own the building if he deems that it's not being taken care of in a good enough manner. This is all part of Zoran's new block-by-block housing plan, which also includes building 200,000 new affordable and rent-stabilized homes for $22 billion over the next 5 years. Let's talk about this. Vickie Paladino is a New York City councilwoman. We also have Ben Ferguson with us tonight. Good to have you both. Vickie, let's talk about seizing property. The left creates these horrible policies like rent control. They force property owners to basically lose money renting out their units for below market value. And then when the unit predictably falls into a state of disrepair, the plan is to now steal it from you. Go ahead, Vic.
Okay, let's get started. Sorry, I didn't know you were coming.
That's all right. No, it's okay.
Anyway, let's understand who's going to deem these properties unfit. What we're going to be doing is weaponizing our building department. And who are we going to put at the head of that weaponization? We're going to put C. Weaver. Who is C. Weaver? C. Weaver is the person we've been talking about since January when he made his first acknowledgement of her in her appointment. She is the tenant czar. So she will and they will go. Here she is, right? Lovely, isn't she? She owns a $1.2 million home in Tennessee, by the way. So let's go to her. This is exactly what they want to do. They will slap these people, our landlords, with fines that, and time after time after time, just keep hitting them with fines till eventually they cannot afford to upkeep their building. Who's going to be the steward of this? Fellow communists. That's who. Communism has come to New York City, and they have embraced it.
Yeah.
This is a very scary thing. We've got everybody in city government. Now, Rob, let's understand, too, this is an absolute violation of the Fifth Amendment. And the only way we're going to see this get cleared up, and they're going to go full throttle, there's two ways to do it. If my city council acts as they should in a responsible manner, and they nail this to the wall, that this is unconstitutional, and because we are the legislators, okay?
Yeah, right.
But the body that I work within is 100% or 50, 70% with this guy who sits at City Hall.
Yeah.
We've got a big
Vickie,
problem here.
Yeah, we do have a big problem here. I want to give it to Ben for a second. I mean,
Sure,
again,
Ben.
just the idea, Ben, that they decimate the quality of the housing by imposing rent control, so nobody can afford to maintain it anyways, and then they're going to steal it from you. And then your landlord is going to be the people that run public housing in this city already. That's the local government, which is some of the worst housing that we have. That's going to be the landlord, as if they do it well.
As if they do it well. And not only that, I don't know if you've seen some of the discussions online, but they're referring to this now as the idea of political squatting, where you go in and then they're actually talking about, hey, we can get things down and get them bad. And then they'll take the property from the landlord, who we will blame, and then they will give it back to us, the tenant, the person that's there that maybe isn't paying on time. Maybe you're behind on rent. Maybe you're the problem with the entire issue here in the building. Maybe you're one of the ones that's trashing the building. But if you trash the building, right, then what happens? You apparently then would get rewarded for that by getting to keep the property that you just trashed. Like, this is not hard to figure out the politics of this. Amazing. You put 500-600 people in a building, and all of it goes to hell in a handbasket on purpose. You then blame the big guy, and you say, see, we deserve to have this property. Look at our living conditions. Look at the trash piling up in the hallways. Look at the paint coming off the wall. Look at the rat infestation. You can create a literal entire zone where you could then say the only way to rectify what we did is to give us that property. And let me tell you, that is exactly what people are going to do here. This is not going after bad tenants, or I should say bad landlords or owners. This is about organized crime. They're going to steal property. It's going to be organized at the lowest level. And everybody in the building is going to say, we celebrate when they give us the property.
Vile. I gotta leave it there, Vickie and Ben. And just to remind people, there's 100,000 units or so that are off the market in New York right now because they're rent stabilized. And the landlords have said, I'd rather have no money for this unit than have almost no money and have somebody destroy it for for the next several years.
Exactly.
That's the problem. They don't understand.
Socialism.
It's exactly. It fails every time.
And understand this. This is all about non-for-profits too.
Right.
Okay. And funding of the DSA.
Yeah.
Keep that all in the back of your head.
They're a big scam.
This is what they want to do. This is going to go nationwide. If it happens here, it's taken over. This is a really fast-moving train.
They're organized. They're going to try it.
Yeah, that's a scam. Yeah. I gotta leave it there. Vickie and Ben, thanks so much. Great conversation.
Thank you, Rob.
We appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thank you, Ben.
Trump says he didn't come this far with Iran just to take a crummy deal. We've got that up next. And then later in News from the Left, Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, tries to flex on Trump and falls directly on her face, quite hard as well.
I asked him to name the starting lineup from 1993 championship team and see how he does.
A Social Security update. Millions collect Social Security, but 70% of Americans don't get their full benefits. Now, a new report shows how to boost your Social Security by as much as $188,000. Author Matthew Allen reveals 5 key strategies in a new report. Newsmax calls it the best guide for retirees. Everyone needs this free Social Security report. Act today to get your full benefits.
If you still have bad breath by lunchtime, your mouthwash isn't working. Smart Mouth is the only mouthwash that prevents bad breath for 24 hours. This is the only mouthwash I recommend. Upgrade your mouthwash to Smart Mouth today and never have bad breath again.
You can get shades like these for under $30, and they come with lost and broken protection. Our Memorial Day sale is live right now at ShadyRays.com. You don't want to miss it. It's the sale of the summer, so head that way and get yours today.
This little light of mine has been dark for quite some time. Then I let in the light to help see more of the light inside of me.
I needed more from my antidepressant, so my doctor added Caplyta, proven to provide greater relief from depression symptoms than an antidepressant alone. Building on my progress without starting over. Weight gain and reported sexual side effects were not common.
Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Caplyta is not approved for dementia-related psychosis. Call your doctor about new or sudden mood changes, behaviors, or suicidal thoughts right away. Antidepressants may increase these risks. Report fever, confusion, stiff muscles, which may be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High cholesterol and weight gain may occur, as can high blood sugar, which may be fatal. Common side effects are sleepiness, dizziness, nausea, dry mouth, feeling tired, and diarrhea. These aren't all the side effects.
Ask your doctor about Caplyta.
Help see more of the light inside of me.
Iran is very much intent. They want very much to make a deal. So far, they haven't gotten there. We're not satisfied with it, but we will be. We will be either that or we'll have to just finish the job. They're negotiating on fumes. But we'll see what happens. Maybe we have to go back and finish it. Maybe we don't. They thought they were going to outweight me. Very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I didn't do this to get a crummy agreement. We can make a good deal right now, but maybe not a great deal. And if it's not a great deal, we're not making it.
So the president there, highlights of what he said today, his 12th cabinet meeting, the second term earlier today at the White House. There was a lot of talk about Iran. Everybody was listening intently amid a lot of criticism, even from his own party, that Trump is about to take some kind of a bad deal just to get out of this thing and to lower the price of oil before the midterms, get gas prices down. Trump saying very clearly today he didn't go through all of this just to accept a crummy deal in the end. The administration says that the world-class naval blockade against Iranian ports in the Strait of Hormuz are devastating Iran's economy.
They're just going back to the internet because they're getting clobbered. Their economy is in free fall. They have 250% inflation. Their money has no value. Their whole economic system is broken down.
We put in a world-class blockade, and they haven't been able to bring anything in or anything out from Iranian ports. And we know from the intel that their economy is hurting big time because that is their lifeblood.
And amid all the chatter and criticism from people that don't really know what's going on because they're just getting leaks that might be intentional for some reason, our Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying this about the mission, making it clear.
The bottom line is Iran's never going to have a nuclear weapon. Diplomacy is always the first option. If there's an agreement to be made, we want that to be made. I think there's been some progress and some interest, and we'll see over the next few hours and days whether progress could be made. Here's the bottom line, because I keep getting asked, what is this all about? It's very simple. Iran and these people in charge of Iran can never have a nuclear weapon, and they will never have a nuclear weapon, and they most certainly will not have one as long as you're president of the United States.
Marco said better than anybody can say it. You can't let them have a nuclear weapon. They would use it instantly.
All right, with that, we bring in Christian Whiton, Newsmax contributor, former senior advisor in the Trump and Bush administrations. Also, Vice Admiral Robert Harward, former deputy commander of Central Command, retired Navy SEAL. Gentlemen, good to have you both here. Vice Admiral, I'll start with you. We had Pompeo and Ted Cruz worried that a bad deal was about to be agreed upon. Where do you think we're at tonight?
I think it's very clear the president's not going to sign a deal that he has guarantees that the nuclear material is in the hands of someone who won't produce a nuclear weapon. And number two, that the free flow of commerce through the Straits of Hormuz is international waterways and will be unimpeded by Iran. So those two objectives have been very clear, and the president's consistent in that message is he's going to have those guarantees before any deal is signed.
So, Christian, knowing that, if the president is indeed going to play hardball as he is contended to, what does that mean for the potential of a deal? Because it seems like Iran doesn't want to meet us halfway.
Well, I think that the prospect of a deal is serious. You're hearing different things from different parts of the Iranian government. It's not entirely clear who's in charge, but there seems to be momentum in the right direction. And the idea of removing the highly enriched uranium, the uranium hexafluoride, which feeds the centrifuge cascades, which incidentally are probably completely wrecked. So Iran doesn't actually have an enrichment capability now. But if it does have that feedstock for future enrichment, the fact that this is now on the table, Iran completely denuclearizing, that is a huge advancement in and of itself. And people across the board, from the Pinkos, the Council on Foreign Relations, to the American Enterprise Institute, to Ted Cruz, ought to be cheering this. This is real progress. It's not done yet, but so much momentum.
Yeah, Vice Admiral Harward, as far as the Abraham Accords, the president even saying today that he might not even do a deal if Gulf states don't sign on to this thing. He's really trying to isolate Iran further in the Middle East by bringing everybody into this deal to kind of open up to Israel. Your thoughts on that plan?
I think it's a great strategy. It will work. The one thing that he's going to have to do, though, is provide guarantees, because all the Gulf states are not worried just about the nukes and just about the straits. They're worried about their ballistic missiles and their drones and funding surrogates. So the president's going to have to be set guarantees and conditions that Iran will never be a threat to those Arab countries again. And that's going to be the conditions for which they would sign on to the Abraham Accord.
And Christian Whiton, your final thoughts, sir. Go ahead. I got 10 seconds.
Well, the Admiral is completely right in that Trump is envisioning and bringing into reality a completely new Middle East, and he realizes the future is not in Europe, which is for vacations, which is dying. Hopefully they change course, but an arc of prosperity from the United States through Northeast Asia to the Middle East. And these are the steps to complete that change, and we will set the terms of the future, and we are the future. And so the Abraham Accords, the expansion of that, very much part of that.
Yeah, we are watching this potential deal closely, of course. Gentlemen, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Coming up here after the break, the media is suddenly obsessed with the president's health and cognitive abilities after years of not really caring about this kind of stuff, as Trump continues to handle 1 million of their random, biased policy questions. That's up next.
Here you can see the president's badly swollen ankles. Look at this. See the pictures there.
Immuno 150 may be the best food supplement in the world because it contains 70 plant minerals and 80 other nutrients. The 3 videos on our website tell you how this product and 7 times more minerals can improve your health.
We've been building chainsaws for over 100 years. Now that century of cutting comes in a mower. New blade, same bloodline.
Yeah, 2 p.m. still works great. We'll put our best guy on the job.
You said you were the best guy.
Also the sales guy.
You should check out Capitus. You can get a fast business loan and hire some help.
Customer service, please hold. Loans are complicated.
Not with Capitus. It's easy to apply and there are no hidden fees.
I got this.
Stop waiting, start growing. Get the funding you need at Capitus.com. You should probably call HR.
You're looking at HR.
My heart has experienced life-changing wins, losses, and countless miles. To keep living at my speed, I trust Cunol CoQ10. CoQ10 is the #1 cardiologist-recommended supplement for heart health. Cunol, the brand I trust.
Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America. Do you know which investment has outperformed almost every other asset class since the beginning of last year? And that Goldman Sachs research is now forecasting to reach further heights. That's right, it's gold. Central banks around the world continue to buy gold at record levels due to economic turmoil, foreign conflicts, and a weakening U.S. economy plagued by debt. If you're concerned how to protect yourself as our financial system weakens, our team at Swiss America has a solution. For over 40 years, we've helped people just like you purchase precious metals for home delivery and for your IRAs. Don't miss out before this next big price jump. Call or text Swiss America at the number on your screen to receive your free portfolio review and a copy of The Timeless Truth About Gold and Silver. Let us show you how easy it is to safeguard your money. Call or text Swiss America today.
Mike Hammond of Signal Relief. We've helped nearly 700,000 feel relief in their back, shoulders, and knees with our technology. But for many of us, it's our feet that hurt. And when they hurt, Our walks get shorter, activities are skipped, and the moments we love start slipping away. That's why we created the Signal Step, a patent-pending insole built using the same proven technology people already trust from Signal Relief. Signal uses no drugs. There's nothing on the market like it. It's relief without the side effects. It's reusable, fits virtually into any shoe, and in a recent study, over 85% felt relief, and it comes with a money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Feel relief with every step. If you're hurting, go to signalstep.com and get relief today.
Immuno 150 may be the best food supplement in the world because it contains 70 plant minerals and 80 other nutrients. The 3 videos on our website tell you how this product and 7 times more minerals can improve your health.
You know who had his 3rd trip to Walter Reed Medical Center in 13 months.
His 3rd visit in 13 months and puts the spotlight on the president's health ahead of his 80th birthday.
As he approaches that 80th birthday, his physical and mental health are under a growing spotlight.
This is the oldest president to ever be inaugurated.
Donald Trump is the oldest person ever elected president.
Trump says he's perfect. Right.
So the same people that ignored the corpse in the White House from 2021 to 2025 are now obsessed with Trump's health and mental acuity. Of course they are. Remember, this was Joe Biden. On the right. Joe, where the hell are you going? It was kind of hilarious to watch. It was even funnier to watch the media desperately ignore this very bizarre aging man. But now a couple trips to Walter Reed, and you had the spot on Trump's hand, and everybody in the D.C. press corps is suddenly a doctor, of course. To feign this concern, they have to ignore the fact that Trump is still constantly in public and constantly poised and savvy. At today's cabinet meeting, he has these all the time. He's had 12 of them already that he puts on national TV for hours. Trump took random hostile questions from the media for an hour and just was answering every single topic. Ask me whatever the hell you want. I'll answer it right now. Nobody cares. It's all about the bruised hand and the trip to Walter Reed. CNN's producers literally made a 6-box image showing Trump's hand bruised from different angles. He's got a bruise on his frickin' hand. Your hand is not going to kill you. Here's how the media sounds.
He's been seen with bruising on his hand.
Bruised hands, swollen ankles.
The president has been photographed with swollen ankles recently, also bruises on his hands.
Questions over bruising on his hands and swelling around his ankles.
Here you can see the president's badly swollen ankles. Look at this. Yeah. See the pictures there.
Yeah, he's almost 80 years old. You know, things start to happen when you get to that age. The Lincoln Project's Rick Wilson is, of course, praying that this means the end. A new write-up, not so subtle, Trump is dying. Sharing this artwork as a part of it. It's better than looking at Rick Wilson's face, though. Very classy. And then there's the obsession with Trump appearing to doze off during these afternoon meetings. Just to remind you, the man works harder than 5 reporters combined in Washington. He sleeps a few hours a night. He's almost 80 years old. He works all the time. And they terrorize him for closing his eyes for 5 seconds while somebody else in the room drones on. Take a look.
Trump has also been caught falling asleep at official events recently, many times.
The president has severe daytime somnolence. He falls asleep very often. Chronic insomnia is a severe illness. It can result in an increase in risk of dementia, decrease in cognitive effects in older people.
Okay, so put yourself in the president's shoes for a second. You're almost 80 years old. You are constantly busy, stressed constantly, not sleeping, running the country, always on television. And then put yourself in some of these somewhat boring meetings that he has to attend, which a lot of them are boring. I'd climb under the desk with a pillow if I was put in that situation. Kari Lake joins us now. Kari, when I was in high school and at like the peak of my physical fitness, I could not stay awake in class to save my life. I would be trying to figure out ways to like doze off. Like I was tired all the time. It's surreal to see what they're trying to do here. Again, after we had a corpse in the White House for 4 years.
Yeah, they ignored, it was Weekend at Bernie's for 4 years. The media ignored everything. Can you even imagine? Remember that video of our former president, President Biden, walking in the lawn of the White House. He can't find the door they're showing him. Or what about when he was having a conversation and seemed to lose focus and start having a conversation with the Easter Bunny? If that happened to President Trump, the media would lose their mind. Instead, they're freaking out because he has a dental visit, because his ankles are swollen. I've traveled. I travel across the country when I go back home to Arizona. I get swollen ankles after a long flight. It happens. And this is a president who's traveling 12, 13, 14-hour flights nonstop. He sleeps 4 hours a night. He works harder than anyone in the country. I challenge you to find one person who works harder. Yet, the media ignores the biggest mental health crisis in the country, and it's the media's raging case of TDS. They completely ignore that they have that.
It is something. I mean, people just have to remember. I mean, 80 years old is getting up there, and he's running the country. I mean, he's doing an ungodly amount of work. I mean, you think you're busy? I mean, imagine being him for a minute. I mean, he's just randomly, he has to do a speech about every single day. He's always in public. He's running the country. He's handling meetings. I mean, this is an insane job for somebody that's 79.9 years old.
And handling questions from the media nonstop. He never turns them down. He constantly answers them.
And they terrorize him for answering their questions all the time, and then they try to turn it into. I mean, it's amazing to see. I want to show you one more before I let you go. They're all going nuts over the construction of this UFC. The cage is going up on the White House lawn right now. Take a listen to some of this.
New construction is underway for an unprecedented spectacle, a cage fight at the White House.
Kind of feels like overkill.
It is overkill. It is overkill.
Scaffolding is now visible. I mean, just look. Scaffolding is now visible from the White House North Lawn. Not sure the founding fathers had UFC in mind 250 years ago.
Oh, geez, give me a break. I mean, we hold events. We hold events, big deal, right?
It's the 250th anniversary of the greatest republic we've ever seen. And I'm glad that we're celebrating. This is a huge celebration. I drove by it. It's going to be beautiful. Yeah. Everyone wants to go. Even some of those people with TDS want to go. And it's crazy. By the way, really quickly, Jill Biden, I just saw an interview of Jill Biden saying that she was worried about her husband thinking he had a stroke. And the media acted like it didn't exist. President Trump is healthy as an ox. He's strong as a ox. He has more vim and vigor than anybody in the media. And, they should be ashamed of themselves for not covering the previous administration with any critique.
Yeah. And the fact that they're going to put up this thing on the White House lawn and then take it down. They're acting like they're going to leave it there forever. And it's going to be the new home of UFC Washington, D.C. It's just ridiculous. Kari, good to see you. Always good at pointing out how ridiculous our media is. Thanks, Kari.
They're out of control. Thanks.
Out of control. All right. Are we ever going to get rid of Mahmoud Khalil? Next. I think the biggest selling point for Newsmax is we're not doing the same boring, predictable news. You flip through the other channels, you got these high-paid hosts. They say the same thing every night. You know what they're going to say. It's a little different.
Is it just the mustache? No. It's the way he brings me a fresh cup of Black Radical coffee.
Honey, you having a Riley Green dream again?
Just give me 5 more minutes.
Okay.
How was school today?
It was good. They want to cast me as the lead in school play.
That's fantastic, isn't it? Are you gonna do it? You okay?
Honey, do you want to talk about it, Daddy?
Yeah.
I wish I wasn't afraid to smile.
I wish I could get implants.
I wish I knew who to trust.
I'm not looking for another quick fix.
I want a smile I know will last.
Clear Choice smiles are made to stand the test of time. They're built by dental implant experts, backed by 20 years of pioneering research and a lifetime warranty on premium arches. Our smiles are built for life. Schedule your free consultation today.
The best investment we can make is in our health.
With our Aquasana water filter, we know we're drinking cleaner, healthier water.
And that will pay the highest dividends.
Cheers.
Visit aquasana.com today.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 in a few months. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, so I went to the official source, Medicare.gov. I got the facts, and you can too.
An official message from Medicare. You have a lot going on. If you're ready to sign up for Medicare, find the most up-to-date information at Medicare.gov, the official source for all things Medicare. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Finished my chores. Ready for my allowance.
Greenlight is way better than how I got paid for chores.
Mowing all those lawns really paid off.
That was not radical.
Bring your family into the financial future.
I still love to surf, snowboard, and of course skate. So I take Cunol Magnesium to support my muscle and bone health. Cunol's high absorption magnesium glycinate helps me get the full benefits of magnesium. Cunol, the brand I trust.
Started doing the Heimlich maneuver. That didn't work. We had people around us that were in the medical field, and they said, hey, you're doing everything right. Then people started shouting, get the life back, get the life back. Probably been a minute and a half, 2 minutes without any oxygen. He was completely gray. She put the life back right on his face, did it. He gasped for air. She did it again a few seconds later, and the grape hit the back of the mask.
And the ambulance would not have been there in time to save Jeremiah. He was gone.
Be prepared. Go to lifeact.net today.
My dad has never been in better shape. He had a stroke and passed away. He had a life insurance policy. Ethos.com. In 10 minutes, you can be covered with life insurance.
Check your price today at ethos.com.
All right, Homeland Security drawing up plans to pull Customs and Border Protection from major airports in sanctuary cities. According to Reuters, the administration would stop processing all international travelers and cargo. Think about LAX, JFK, San Francisco, Chicago, Newark, Seattle, Philly, all these sanctuary cities. It could cripple, in part, the economies of these blue states. This is a big move, much warranted response to Democrats blowing off immigration controls, even after the mandate we saw of the last election. Meantime, far-left rioters continuing to lay siege to the Delaney ICE detention facility in Newark, New Jersey, one of the worst cities in the world, for the 5th straight day. ICE officers assaulted, many arrests. The governor, Mikey Sherrill, doing a stunt. The senator, Andy Kim, as well, helping rioters to block federal vehicles and stop operations on Memorial Day, of all days, pushing to shut down the facility over claims of a hunger strike from detainees. People being held inside of this facility after breaking into our country are angry that they're not getting their perfect, ideal cuisine from their homeland. Our new Secretary of Homeland Security, Markwayne Mullin, calling this out.
They say that that it's because they're on a hunger strike when there was only a handful of individuals that was refusing to eat because they want their ethnic group or their ethnic right food. Well, they go back to their country and get whatever food they want. We see Antifa signs are literally out there. The local police literally refusing to respond. They barricade it, not allowing our employees to come in and out.
Imagine you break into a country and you go on a hunger strike because you're not getting the food of the cuisine of your homeland. Isn't that just the funniest thing? Chad Wolf was Trump's Secretary of Homeland Security. Also with us, Tudor Dixon. Good to have you both here. Chad, how big of a move is this, what they're going to do with these sanctuary cities?
Yeah, look, Secretary Mullin is pretty serious about this. Yeah. And just think about this. What he is saying is that these officials in places like Newark and New York and Chicago, they're okay with DHS enforcing immigration law as long as it's in the airport. But once you're outside of the airport and you're in their city, then they don't want DHS officials enforcing immigration law. And so Secretary Mullin's saying that doesn't seem right. That's not how this is supposed to work. And so he's looking at a couple of different options. It's not going to be without a lot of controversy and a lot of pain to these cities if really international flights can't land there. But I think it's interesting to start this conversation with those blue cities to say, are you really serious about trying to impede and stop immigration enforcement?
Tudor, it is about time that we saw a move against what has been utterly ridiculous behavior from these blue cities toward what is just standard immigration law in a country like this.
Absolutely. I mean, we continue to have to see parents like the poor parents of Sheridan Gorman come out and say, how could you allow this to happen? How could we have to deal with the death of our daughter because the mayor of Chicago doesn't care about enforcing the law? I mean, that's what this is. If you're not going to enforce the law, then we won't allow those people to go to your cities where you won't vet them and you won't get rid of the people who want to harm Americans. I mean, I think of all the parents that we've talked about in just the past couple of years. And let me tell you, there are hundreds every year that we don't hear about. This is the problem, and this is what the Trump administration is saying. We're going to keep people safe.
Yeah, and rightly so. I love a bold move by Markwayne Mullin right as he gets into the position. Chad, the Mahmoud Khalil saga, it feels like this is never going to end. I can't believe how hard it is to kick this kid out of the country. Federal Appeals Court temporarily blocking the re-detention of him. This punk that stirred up all that chaos on Columbia's campus, terrorized Jewish students. He's appealing now to the Supreme Court. How funny is it, though? I mean, we can't get rid of him. All these people say that this is such a terrible racist country. Look at how much power this kid has over his own deportation in this terrible country.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Look, whether the Supreme Court takes it up or not, I think obviously this sets a precedent and the ability for the Secretary of State to use his authority to expel individuals that are obviously having a foreign policy, issue, I think is really, really important because this is an area of immigration law, again, authority by the Secretary of State that hasn't been exercised. It's been on the books, right, for a long time. It just really hasn't been utilized. And so the Trump administration recognizes this, sees this, uses it, is totally lawful. Of course, it's going to get litigated. And so the outcome of this case is really important, obviously, for the future use of this authority and the ability to remove individuals here on a student visa that are abusing our laws and that are going against our national interest.
It is. I mean, it seems like he's going to lose this case eventually, Tudor, but it is surreal to see how much power we give to a foreign immigrant that comes here and terrorizes a major American campus, and he has so much say in his ability to stay.
Yeah, I think it's surreal to see the amount of Americans who are defending someone who came here and broke really the rules of the visa. I mean, the rules of the visa are you going to financially benefit or benefit a terror organization in any way? He overtook buildings at Columbia University. He was the negotiator. We had a janitor that was injured. I mean, this was very serious what he did at Columbia University. And he's not saying it's going to stop. He's breaking the terms of a visa, and he thinks he can get around that because he got married. I mean, now we see exactly what these types of plans are going to do and why we have to stop it.
Send the wife and kid with him. Get him out of there. I'm so tired of looking at this kid. And I mean, every 2 weeks there's another update. You can't get rid of him. Like a bad penny. Chad, Wolf, Tudor Dixon, good to see you both. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. When you think about Mamdani's ideology, it's a little weird how much he loves sports. I'm going to explain coming up.
Don't kibble your dog.
Oh, hey, Dr. Marty.
Hey, back.
But what's wrong with this? It's premium stuff.
Let's check it out. It's still kibble, which means it's ultra-processed at extremely high temperatures that destroy the nutrients in the food. But at Dr. Marty, we gently freeze-dried premium meats, fruits, and vegetables, locking in their nutrients.
Never kibbled.
You got it, kid, and they're gonna love it.
Doctors say having a medical emergency kit is like having an urgent care and pharmacy at home. Let me bring in Dr. McCullough to explain more.
Most people know when they're getting sick, but waiting to see a doctor is often too late.
So the key is having medicines before you need them.
Yes, and it includes doctor-prescribed medicines to treat common and serious issues like generic Z-Pak, amoxicillin, antibiotics, antivirals for flu, pneumonia, strep, ear and sinus infections, UTIs, and more.
So it is like having an urgent care at home.
Exactly. No waiting, no pharmacy, no copays. You feel better faster and avoid serious complications and hospitalizations.
How do you know what to take?
Just match your symptoms to the doctor-written guide or schedule a quick telehealth call.
Great advice. I understand ordering is fast online, and we've put the website and $45 off code on the screen. Thank you, doctor.
Visit urgentcarekit.com/news, promo code news.
Think you need a new roof? Think again and save thousands.
We'll help you put off the high cost of a roof replacement for at least 5 years.
Or 10.
Or sometimes even 15.
We're America's most trusted roofer because we always try to save your roof rather than replace it.
We'll restore your roof for a fraction of the cost of a new one. But don't wait. If your roof loses too much protective coating, it's too late. Call now or scan the code and we'll give you an assessment of your roof for free.
Summer is coming fast. Now you can get your best summer body in just one visit to Sono Bello, America's #1 cosmetic surgery specialist.
This summer, I'm excited to not be covered up.
I've got abs again. Sono Bello put me in the right spot to just feel good again.
I feel beautiful. I went from this to this in just one visit.
I feel confident.
Micro laser technology permanently removes stubborn fat, tightens and tones skin in just one visit with less downtime.
My shirts were extra large. Now I'm wearing a bathing suit. It changed my life.
There's no more frustration, just permanent results.
My stomach is gone.
Sono Bello has over 50,000 5-star reviews and expert surgeons. Call now for your personalized consultation. That's over a $250 value. Free. Easy monthly payment options make your best body more affordable than ever. Step into summer with confidence. Call Sono Bello today.
All right, welcome back. Time now for news from the left. With the Knicks in the NBA Finals, Trump still a New Yorker, saying today he is going to attend an NBA Finals game. Well, that inspired New York's Governor Kathy Hochul to make the dumbest move possible. Posing as more of a New Yorker than the president, Kathy said this without doing her homework first.
What do you think of him saying he's a lifelong Knicks fan? I think that's how the Times reported it.
I asked him to name the starting lineup from 1993 championship team and see how he does.
1993, you say? The Knicks did not win the NBA Finals in 1993. They were not even in the NBA Finals in 1993. It was Chicago and Phoenix. She tried to flex on something she doesn't know anything about, leaving her look like a total goon, which she so often does look like. Again, the Botox is bleeding into her brain. Hochul trying to out New York Donald Trump. Well, here's video of Trump courtside at a Finals game back in the 90s. Shaking the hands of broadcasters. Look, you can see Marv Albert there. Remember those days? Hochul trying to play off this horribly embarrassing moment. Her press office tweeting out that she was baiting Trump into pretending that team won the finals. A classic 4D chess move. No, she just has no idea what she's talking about, and she tried to flex and fell right on her face. It's a beautiful moment. Sticking with basketball for a moment, New York's communist mayor Zoran Mamdani is oddly giddy over the Knicks being in the finals.
Did you ever think that you would see a Knicks finals run during your first year as mayor?
I didn't want to jinx it, but it is incredible. As you said, 1999, the last time the Knicks were in the finals, Ricky Martin, Livin' La Vida Loca was the top of the charts.
Were you trolling Vivek Ramaswamy with your post overnight?
I just hope he had a nice night. And we had a great one in New York.
Why would a communist like sports? Think about that for a second. Sports are everything that Mamdani hates. Only the absolute best excel, the weak fall through the cracks. Sports are the perfect example of capitalism and why competition always elicits the best results. We should create an equity-based team for Mamdani, since he's such a big sports fan. A third New York basketball team where everybody gets a chance. We can fill it up with chubby Asian women and short guys and see how they do in the NBA. Be Mamdani's dream. And finally, Zoran and AOC celebrating Eid, Muslim holiday today. AOC, the woke feminist that she is, also just so happy to obey Islamic rules, putting on the hijab. Cover your hair, AOC, at the event. Why? Because, it's okay to be a second-class citizen in a victim culture. She has no problem with that whatsoever. Screaming about women's rights all the time, abortion until the 28th month. And then she turns around and puts that hijab on to let all the Islamic men know she will obey and submit to them. How funny is that? How did Ferrari make such a monumental mistake?
When you're in the news business, it never stops. News is always breaking, and it's my job to get you the news, no spin, no BS. If you don't believe us, just watch us.
Watch Finnerty, weeknights, only on Newsmax.
Immunolun 50 may be the best food supplement in the world because it contains 70 plant minerals and 80 other nutrients. The 3 videos on our website tell you how this product and 7 times more minerals can improve your health.
AI company Palantir makes critical decisions for governments around the world. In 2019, Palantir bought $50 million in gold in case of black swan events. Not surprising what followed. In 2020, a pandemic shut down the global economy. And in 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine. In 2023, we had a regional banking collapse. And in 2026, could a 1929-style market crash be the final straw? Give Patriot Gold Group a call at 888-528-4290 before it's too late. Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold and silver dealer 9 years in a row. Home of the no-fee-for-life IRA. Patriot Gold Group is Patriots protecting Patriots. Call now, 888-528-4290.
We've been building chainsaws for over 100 years. Now that century of cutting comes in a mower. New blade, same bloodline. Right now, save $50 on select mowers. Steel.
You can get shades like these for under $30. And they come with lost and broken protection. Our Memorial Day sale is live right now at ShadyRays.com. You don't want to miss it. It's the sale of the summer, so head that way and get yours today.
My paycheck was just deposited into my Greenlight account.
Greenlight is so convenient. You know, we had to use a vacuum tube.
Where is it going?
Bring your family into the financial future.
Like a relentless weed, moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms can keep coming back.
Break away to what's possible with Tremfya.
The only IL-23 blocker for Crohn's and UC to offer self-administration from the start.
Tremfya can help with symptom relief as early as 4 weeks, remission at 12 weeks, 1 year, and 2 years.
Some had visible repair of their intestinal lining. Serious allergic reactions, increased risk of infections or lower ability to fight them, and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or need a vaccine. Break away with Tremfya.
Backed by over 15 years of clinical research. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today.
Immunolun 50 may be the best food supplement in the world because it contains 70 plant minerals and 80 other nutrients. The 3 videos on our website tell you how this product and 7 times more minerals can improve your health.
Finally tonight, I don't think I've ever seen a car company make such a huge mistake. By the way, you're going to see Rob Finnerty here in about 45 seconds. Just a quick tease there. You popped up while I was talking.
Popped up. There we go.
Look at this ridiculous thing that Ferrari just made. This is their first electric vehicle. It's called the Luce. They're charging $640,000 for this thing. It's hideously ugly. Shares of Ferrari in Milan fell about 8% after this thing was unveiled. It's equipped with a half a ton of battery cells at a time when nobody wants electric cars. They come out with this. Nobody wants these things. We've known that for the last couple of years.
Yes.
Top speed 192. It's quick. It replicates the engine growl using, I guess, the speakers on the car or something like that. The Luce, the electric vehicle that is going to tank Ferrari in the near term, they are celebrating over at Lamborghini, Rob Finnerty. How in the hell did they make a mistake that bad?
You know,
did nobody look at it before they let it out?
First of all right, no one wants like a caravan Ferrari, but $600,000.
$640
for that thing. What's
Good
it called?
God.
The Duce?
The
what?
Luce. I think they should call it the Duce.
It's just, I mean, that thing is just so. I want a Testarossa, like a 1989 red classic.
A 95 Testarossa with a drop
horse.
top on it.
You know what I hate when people say? They're like, it's so impractical.
The Don Johnson car, the Miami Vice car. That's
exactly, but not in white. I want it in red.
Red, fire engine red.
All right, Rob.
Take it.
Duce. Finnerty starts now.